Star Trek is owned by CBS Studios Inc. Look again at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of. Every human being who ever was lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering. Thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor, and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were, but without it we go nowhere. Somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known. These are the voyages of the USS Pegasus. The unmistakable walls of a Federation demountable portable building can be seen. Its walls have been painted rather than the uninspiring grey they often begin their life with. A large rug covers the centre of the floor, bookcases line half the room, filled with books from Aristotle, Socrates, Hume, Locke and Russell. Books on robotics and AI in practical application. The walls have large paintings of landscapes, mostly from Earth, but there are a couple from other worlds. A large soft sofa is against one wall with a coffee table in front of it. In the corner is a large reading chair. Doors lead out to the other parts of the structure. And there you stand, in full, EVA suits.
Is there, like, blood all over the
There
walls?
is not.
Or...
Oh, that's good.
Hunt takes off his helmet.
And there is air and gravity and...
Technically, given the state of the room, nothing is frozen. Sound. We have sound, therefore, air. Sound cannot travel in space.
It can travel through different mediums, though.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be traveling through the
air,
floor
it's
up through our
traveling through
feet.
nitrogen and carbon.
Could have
Oh, I
been in-
suppose.
oxygen.
I had not thought of that.
Could have been in an all
like-
helium atmosphere.
Exactly.
So, well,
Well,
I did not think of that.
Considering he's taken off his helmet and not died, Kelle
This
will
is
take
why he
hers off as
curses
well.
science.
Well, that's why I fly the ship. Is that a hint of jasmine I do smell?
It's probably my perfume, says a 50-year-old woman who has been watching your debate about how music could possibly travel between different mediums. She's still reasonably attractive. She's wearing a sort of a summer dress, and she's sort of casual. And she's looking at you. You appear slightly overdressed.
Hunt looks down.
We didn't know what to expect.
I see.
Hunt's now looking at the XO.
My name is Marina Lazopoulos.
Hunt walks over.
Lazopoulos. Are you any relation, perhaps, to George Lazopoulos?
He is my father.
He is your father. Do you know where he is?
Or rather, he was my father. He died recently.
How long have you been here, and why are you here?
I have been here for 10 years. My father has been here for close to 30. As to why, he decided to focus on his work. And he no longer felt that that could be done in the sphere of civilization. That there was too many distractions and too many people wanted his views, his time. So he chose somewhere that no one had ever been. Here. He came with a small crew that transferred onto another vessel. He built this prefab location, and then to remove any temptation of returning, he then crashed that vessel onto one of the other asteroids.
Sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but who is your father?
George Lazopoulos is a famous Earth philosopher, but he has been missing for many years, although was still publishing selected works every few years or so, a couple of years or so.
The university was aware of what he was doing. They didn't know where he was, and he would send his completed work to the university and they would then publish it. He contacted me 10 years ago saying that he was starting to age and feel sick, and asked if I would help him. I have acted as his nurse, essentially, more than daughter for that time.
So why did you send the distress call?
He died, and I would like to go home.
Can we ask you about the power output of this facility?
That is his secretary,
There's someone else here.
of sorts.
Of sorts?
Is he a philosopher of, like, do machines have feelings? Is that his...
Yeah, okay, so I tell him, yes, George Lazopoulos was a famous philosopher. AI was his focus of the... was kind of central to his philosophical themes. And he was trying to come up with the foundation for how humans and AI can interact and coexist, and whether or not an AI is actually alive. These types of questions were central to his work. May I ask if the AI has been acting oddly in the time that you've been here?
It's an AI. It always
Tending to your
acts
father.
oddly.
Okay. How did your father? Like, was it natural, or was it old age, or like?
He passed away in his sleep.
Was it an accident? Okay.
He was getting quite old. I think he would have lived a deal longer if he'd have stayed in the Federation sphere. He would have had access to more medicine and just civilization.
We're sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
So we will arrange to bring her back with us. Is there any immediate danger in staying on this asteroid?
There is not. My father is in the other room.
Okay. So I guess first we will go tend to the father. Did you want him to be, interred here, or are you wanting to take him back to Federation space?
He left no instructions on such things, so I assume return him to Earth.
So the AI is housed somewhere else?
And she points to the room across where my father is.
I guess we will go there.
Is there anything you need to do before leaving, or would you like to head back to the ship for now?
I need to collect a few things.
Alright, do you need any help with that?
No, I can handle that. Thank you.
Alright, if you'd like to get those ready, then we will get you to the ship as soon as possible.
Very good.
And is she going
Yes,
to get
she
things?
leaves into one of the other rooms. Yeah,
She
to one of the
leaves?
other rooms.
So
it's 4 structures. So each one is about the size of Ken's apartment.
Okay.
Yeah, because we all know how big Ken's apartment
Yeah,
is.
That's exactly right. Well, one person
You have
knows.
to leave.
One
Put it this
person
way,
knows.
you have-
Yeah, so
you-
Ken knows how big it is.
You have to leave to change your mind. It's that small.
Yeah.
So.
So, this seems to be living and kitchenette area sort of thing, and then there's obviously one is split into 2 for sleeping accommodations, and then there must be the other one for power or something like that, and then the one that you're going to.
Hunt's got to go look for some food.
Okay.
I'm going to ask Kelle, the doctor, very, very quietly. I'll pull you off to the side and say, can you please run some scans on Marina to be sure that she's okay and there's nothing that's, there's no problems with being on this place for the last 10 years, that maybe this has done something, and just do a thorough scan on her, but I prefer you did it without her knowing that you're scanning. It's not that difficult of a thing to do. You're just gonna...
At the moment she appears to be in shock, I believe the best course of action would be to return her to the ship as soon as possible. I can ask her to join me in the med bay and say I would just like to give her a brief health check to make sure she's all right. I would be able to do any scans then.
I'm talking about a 10-second scan here on this asteroid first.
All right, I will do so. I do believe we should return her to the ship as soon as possible.
I fully agree with that. I'm just asking for this one. Indulge my superstition, please.
I will do so.
So he does find, so I can tell he does find food. It seems to be somewhat. It does seem to be a mix. They must have in slightly like a small hydroponic section, and the rest seems to be replicated.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Okay, so everyone else is going into the other room?
I am going back to quickly just check in on Marina. Just, I guess, since the EXO wants it done surreptitiously, just tell her I'm checking how she's doing and quickly scan her. I've scanned her and she appears to be human.
Again, there was something there in that there's this huge
switched
power.
with the,
There's this huge
yeah.
power output coming from this place. We don't know. She's saying she's been here 10 years. There's still no record of anyone from Starfleet going anywhere. His main thing was AI and everything. It didn't seem completely unreasonable that she might not be
human.
who she said she was. I knew about the man. I didn't know anything about his family.
That's true.
So,
well, that's not exactly what Kelle will say. She will return and say, I mean, other than being in shock, she has a couple minor conditions that could have been easily treated if she hadn't been out here in the middle of nowhere. It won't be as easy now, but still nothing too bad. Other than that, nothing abnormal.
very good. Then I'll just say then maybe yeah, let her get her stuff together and we'll continue on with our search.
All right.
And you go into the other room, and there's several computer banks, and it's pretty cold. The temperature is maybe about 10 degrees. And in the center of the room is a large sort of computer bank, looks quite sturdy, and the deceased is laying upon it with a sheet pulled over them. The corpse does not answer you. Sort of happens, and there is a pretty glowing bluey green transparent woman standing there, and she looks at Yennek and says, "Why did you think Marina was not who she said she was?"
This is interesting. I did not think that. I was merely testing a theory. My supposition was incorrect.
But there had to be some form of evidence to make you think that.
Merely trying to piece together unknown elements of the equation. Sorry, I was going to call him the doctor, but whatever. I know that that Mr. Lazopoulos was heavily involved in the field of AI. I know that apparently he came here 30 years ago. I know that Marina had mentioned she came here 10 years ago with a ship that dropped her off and then moved on. There were too many unknowns in the equation. I just wanted to ensure that all possibilities are addressed.
Interesting. She turns to Kelle. Why did you not want her to know that you were scanning her?
I was requested to do so with subtlety.
She looks back to the EXO. Why did you need that?
Well, actually, if you recall, I did reverse that, and I did say that no, you could do it. It doesn't have to be surreptitious. We just tell her that we have to run
didn't
some
realize that was
scans
in
to
character.
make sure she wasn't carrying any kind of harmful radiation that would cause problems for the people on board our ship.
Why did you change your mind?
You are very curious.
See, now this isn't right. You're taking things out of game that I'm doing and putting those against me.
It's an AI. It can predict what you're
Yeah, exactly.
going to say.
Exactly. To care for the lives of the crew aboard the ship.
Interesting.
You have a lot of questions. Is it alright if we ask you some?
Yes,
What's your name?
I am Teal.
Teal. I suppose that makes sense.
And she blinks at you.
Fascinating. Aura walks over to the computer that seems to be housing the AI.
So he's looking at the computer and not at her.
Yeah.
And she disappears and then appears next to him. What are you looking for?
Well, I've never seen something quite like you. What is your power source?
A photon antimatter drive from the ship.
I see. And did the person or emotions to the dead body, did he program you himself?
That is correct. He started the preliminary work before he came here. He realized he needed an assistant.
Do you want to leave this place with us?
I have no feelings one way or the other. My requirement for existence has ended almost.
Almost?
Correct.
In what way has it not yet ended?
George was working on one final paper. He is 3/5 done. Unfortunately, he did not finish it before he died. However,
Ah.
I feel from the extensive study of his previous text, as well as 30 years in his presence, that I have the ability to complete that text.
Do you want to?
I would like to. Marina is opposed to the idea.
Oh, why?
I am not human.
I mean, neither am I.
Or his antennas point in her direction.
I am fairly certain, in my experience anyway, that people who aren't human are able to write papers. In fact, they've made me do it several times.
Reason. Why is it called the Pleasure Planet?
We get a lot of tourism.
What is the appeal?
Depends on who you ask. There is the beautiful natural landscape. There is the very hospitable population.
Landscape.
Landscape.
Ah, so that would be why you'd visit, would
She
it?
disappears and appears next to Hunt. Landscape. Please explain.
Hunt sort of takes a breath. Thinks about... Is... Okay. Landscape. I don't know how to explain landscape in the terms that I would need to explain it. I can imagine it.
And she's just looking at Hunt, who's looking.
Yeah, everyone's just standing in silence waiting for his response.
Describe landscape, and it's telling me all these things on how to describe mountains, terrains.
Well, that's what landscape is.
Oh yeah, but like in the words of how to actually great sandstone outcropping easing over humps and trenches and potholes and stone rivers and bashing through trees. No, I don't want to say that.
Oh, you just did.
You seem quite impassioned about landscape.
So, landscape is, the visible features of an area or, of land. It's landforms. So outside here, your landscape is the asteroid. Where there are planets and places which have beautiful landscape.
I see.
Both natural and created.
You have higher bone density and higher iron intake. You are human, but these are not characteristics of Earth.
Characteristics of what?
Earth, she said.
Earth. Oh. This is characteristics of human male.
But not human from Earth.
That is correct.
Why?
It's like filling that awkward silence. Why what?
I believe she's asking why you are not from Earth, although you are human.
Humans don't necessarily have to originate from Earth.
Why?
Hunt's sort of looking at her a bit confused and perplexed. Wow, for an artificial intelligence, you sure don't know very much.
Humans, more so than any other species, seem to enjoy travel and
Yes,
living
we,
new places.
We enjoy travel and exploration. So, once upon a time in Earth's history, humans would have originated, maybe from a particular land and travelled, vast oceans to go to new lands and populate. And eventually we surpassed our planet's ability to support us, so we looked to the stars and we left our Earth and explored other planets.
Why?
That drive that you feel, the pursuit of knowledge, to keep asking questions, humans feel that too.
I see.
We always want to know more.
We? Oh, I
We?
forget. Aura is half human.
I'm half human.
Oh, you're half human. You're only half interested in.
Only half interested.
Well, Andorians
Half of
are
him
known.
doesn't care.
Andorians are also known for their exploration. They can survive on many different worlds, from the very hot to the very cold, and are very adaptable.
If that is true of all of you to some degree, is it common then for off-world humans to suffer head injuries?
One in particular.
It is common for this specific human, it seems.
Why?
Hunt's got an eyebrow raised. It happens one time. One time.
Really? One? That is not correct. Perhaps the head injuries have caused you to lose count.
On one mission. One mission.
One mission, multiple head injuries.
And those are just the ones we know about.
He would keep such injuries secret?
It is possible. I mean...
She looks to Hunt. Is that a racial trait?
What?
Keeping injuries to yourself.
Oh. Hunt looks at Kelle. Is she for real?
Oh, Teal?
Yeah.
She seems to be real. I am not quite sure what you mean.
Do you go by she, Teal?
George referred to me as a she.
That makes
And
sense.
that is fine with you?
He said it was too impersonal.
Understandable.
Marina refers to me sometimes as it.
I did notice she seems rather uncomfortable with you. Do you know why?
I am not sure. George felt that she was somewhat jealous. This is not a emotion that I feel, so I cannot quite put myself in her position.
Did he spend more time with you than with her?
Technically, he spent 20 more years with me.
That is true. when she was here.
I was directly responsible with working with him on his papers, arranging, preparing, sending. She was brought primarily for his care.
I see.
I do not know how fathers and daughters interact under normal circumstances. I cannot tell you if their relationship was good or not, as I have no other point of reference.
Do you know what caused his death?
He was getting...
I thought it was old age.
I have yet to do a post-mortem. I was wondering if Teal had any more information.
He had a cardiac arrest during his sleep, brought upon by lack of exercise, probably mixed with old age.
Thank you. I will do an autopsy to confirm, but that sounds quite reasonable.
Commander, can you send a message to the ship and see if it is possible to transfer the AI to the ship's computer?
Me? Hans pointing at himself.
Yes, you are the commander. And
I mean, there are two of them, you must remember.
Technically, there's sort of two commanders.
Oh, right.
Yes, I guess. Transfer the ship, the AI to the ship. Hey?
I have to interject there at that point. I'm like, that would be very, very, very much against every Starfleet regulation. You want to take an unknown artificial intelligence and transfer it to our computer systems on board a ship.
I mean, it's really cool.
I hate to be the bearer of Starfleet rules, but don't we have to determine whether this thing has some form of sentience or not first?
I mean, we don't have to, but
Does it fall within Starfleet regulations? Whether how we proceed with this, or is it just is she just a machine?
I'm certain she is, I'm certain everything is great about her and all of that, but we cannot incorporate her into the...
She's self-aware and has her own thoughts. We can't just leave her here.
I'm not
suggesting we... I'm not suggesting we simply add her into the ship's computer without any further checks or anything. However, we will have to come up with something. Lieutenant Thatcher, your idea does seem a little hasty, however.
What about the power source?
Yeah.
This ship?
Well, she's drawing an exceptionally large amount of power. She's using a photon...
Antimatter drive.
Yeah, antimatter drive.
that's part of the reason why I was thinking if we linked her with the ship's computer and kind of downloaded her intelligence, then we don't have to worry about power.
Unless there is a way we can do it so that she is completely separate from the
Isolated
ship's
from
computers.
the...
I don't know that there's a way that can be done, but
We could partition the ship's computer, but
I don't think a partition's gonna... I mean, it might. That's, you know what? You've probably got computers as a thing, so if that's between you and the GM, I guess.
Well, how Hunt's thinking about the size of this asteroid. How big is it?
We're going to bring the whole thing?
The asteroid is about 2 kilometres in full size.
So tractor beamable or not
Which
tractor
we don't
beamable?
even have a
Tractor beamable.
we don't even have a tractor beam, so it's a moot point, right?
Shields up and push it.
We'll just tie it to the roof of the ship
Exactly.
with
Well, let
bungee
inertia
cords.
do the rest.
Is that feasible?
Which bit?
Any of it?
No.
No.
Sorry, we are
Is there anything
teasing
that could
each
be
other a
done?
bit.
Is there anything that can be done? Can you operate on a much reduced power draw?
I dare say her intelligence would probably drop a fair
I am uncertain, as I have never had to. I would say to some degree that the power source from the ship is probably far greater than what was required for this dwelling, but I do not know what my minimum power requirements are. That has never been tested.
Can you transfer yourself? Do you know how to do that?
I do not know. The reason I was created was to aid George with his writing, the transportation of finished papers, and arranging and accepting his thoughts when he was trying to talk out ideas. I have never had a requirement to do anything else.
Now that he is passed, do you make your own requirements?
I do not know. That was not part of my original programming parameters.
Well, say you finished the paper, as that is something you have expressed interest in doing. Then, when your given requirement was completed, would you have the desire to do anything more, or would you simply not wish to do anything?
I do not know. I have no thoughts on.
On the matter. How long do you think it would take you to finish this paper?
Possibly 1 month.
1 month.
But does not the rights of kin overrule that of AI?
I mean, at the moment, it is just an idea. It's good to have all the information.
What do you mean by the rights of kin?
Marina doesn't want her to finish the paper.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to go talk to Marina for a little bit.
Marina should rest on the ship. I wouldn't advise questioning of any kind at the moment. She is in shock.
Okay, but we kind of need both sides of the story to decide who is right.
We do, but she won't be able to give us.
Okay, I'm fine with that. If it means that we've got to wait some time, then so be it. But I'm reluctant to beam up an artificial intelligence or to.
Oh no, I'm
it.
not suggesting we bring Teal on board immediately. We can come and go
If there's
as
time,
needed
then
until this
we
is
we
solved.
take our time, but
Teal, do you believe that you are alive?
I am me.
That is
your-
correct.
Is that your version of I think, therefore I am?
She pauses as if she's searching for something.
Are you talking about
Philosophy.
you think because you are, or what? I don't get it.
It was
Cogito ergo sum. Earth philosophy.
Yes, it's a famous Earth philosopher who, when I grew up on a science station, and there are quite a lot of books there, including...
If I think I'm a pilot, I am a pilot?
Not exactly. It's more saying that because you think you know you exist.
Oh, and by that logic, if the AI here has to think about it, then...
Well, I don't
She
believe
is-
whether or not she exists is in question.
That is correct. I am here.
Yes, you are.
Well, I'm glad we established that.
It's good we've got something settled.
George argued that AI are alive. That, in part, that although my thought processes come from electrical circuitry on some level, that Humans themselves, the electrical impulses in your brains, are an organic computer rather than a mechanical one, but there is little separating you from me.
I would say it's less a question of alive and more a question of personhood.
That was some of what he worked on.
I mean, I suppose my opinion counts for little in this matter, but I would consider you a person.
Thank you. I consider you a
You are
person as
welcome.
well.
I appreciate it.
Where is
Marina?
the daughter?
She is packing her things.
Hmm.
Unless she's run off.
Well, maybe I should go and see if she needs a hand.
You can do that.
The Voyages of the USS Pegasus utilises the excellent official rules Star Trek Adventures released by Mephidius Games. Featuring Emily as Lieutenant Kelle, Shadow as Lieutenant Aura, Raveninsane as Commander Hunt, Ken as Commander Yennek, and Ghost as the GM. Many of the sounds come from Syrinscape, an excellent app for bringing more life to your gaming table. You can find us at critfail.com. I remember we do the rank thing every game.
Yeah, because no one can remember.
What's the ship's rank?
The ship.
I don't
Well,
have the ship's
Is the
breakdown.
ship is the ship a lieutenant?
Well, if you don't clean it, it's going to get rank at some point.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, fair enough.